Hello everybody and welcome back to Pravus Gaming and more oxygen not included in the Dupe Troupe. Alright, one thing I think I may want to do is actually move this entire oxygen producing facility outside of the base and properly close things off and insulate it. The reason I'm thinking that is this is currently the main source of heat in our base and it is going to continue making things a little bit tougher. This stuff's actually warming up quite a bit as well, but fortunately the insulation seems to be doing its job. We may need to get a whole level of insulation just around here, honestly, just to protect this, because I can't really afford to break open the water tanks, now can I? No. But yeah, if you're going to have any sort of heat generators, you kind of want to have it somewhere outside. What I may also do is just go ahead and kind of open up a few little slots in these areas. And the reason being, I just want to have some wide open spaces for air and heat to kind of flow around out here. But it also gives me more room to work if I ever decide I do want to kind of create some little cubby holes for the batteries and so on. You know, I might want to move these things out here somewhere. We probably do want to go ahead and put at least one or so battery in here. Or maybe what we could do... Well, okay, so here's the thing, right? There is a maximum wattage for your wires. Regular wire can handle up to 1,000 watts of power before it starts straining and you might actually break things. We're probably, by this point, getting to, getting kind of close. Yeah, actually, I see it flickering yellow. We're getting strained right now, which means our wiring systems are about ready to break. So we're going to need to start breaking things off kind of into their own different circuits anyway. What we may end up doing is using the heavy watt wires to kind of create a loop around the base, and then we'll have little cubby holes with power transformers that will allow us to kind of create several separate circuits that can run at a much safer voltage. That might be what we're looking for, but mainly I am concerned about not having enough water. So if we can't find any water, I think we're going to have a really bad time. I'm mopping up what I can to try and reclaim something, but really what's going to end up happening is we are going to need to start processing some polluted water, probably from a slime biome, if we can find a good chunk down here, for example, and start turning it into something useful, because, yeah, this is going to be a problem. This is going to be a big problem for us. To that extent, though, the water sieve, which does do the job pretty well, is very heat-intensive, unfortunately. So we probably want to keep that outside of the base as well for the same sorts of reasons. So you know what? Yes, I'm going to go ahead and commit to this idea. I think we are going to create some insulation all the way around here in the base. For now, at least, we'll do it kind of like this. And we're going to have to kind of create a separate set of chambers, one for oxygen generation, one for water processing, and we may end up doing, if I can get to a cold biome, is find a whole bunch of wheezewort and create a kind of a radiator cooling room. The idea behind that will be to take the oxygen from our electrolyzer and run it through, kind of in a radiator snaking pattern, a really cold insulated room filled with wheezewort. So it cools down the air that is being distributed through the base. It won't keep everything really cold exactly, but it should help manage the temperature a lot better. We are going to get rid of this cold generator. At this point, I don't think it's really doing me any favors. We'll deconstruct this thing as well. So yeah, that does mean we're going to have some power problems until we can get this hooked up to the main grid, though. So actually, you know what? Cancel. Don't get rid of that yet, but we do need to get on this pretty much as soon as we can. So let's go ahead and start insulating. Let's start creating cubby holes. Let's get some power transformers up and running. Oh, here we go. Here's a few nice pools of polluted water. Okay, I can make something like that work. What the heck are you? It's a squeaky pufflet. Huh. It's a puffed, but it's tiny, it's kind of cute, and it's... I don't know. It looks disturbing. Kind of reminds me of some sort of a Sesame Street character. I don't know why I'm thinking that, but it does. I don't like it. I think we should kill it. Hey, job mastered. Okay, so that should be Lucario, right? So hang on real quick. So what we should be able to do now is move her on up to being a proper farmer. Good. So that means, actually, if I want to go ahead and uproot a couple of things... This is about how far? These are pretty young. Let's go ahead and uproot a couple of these bristle blossoms up here. I think I can go ahead and get rid of these. They're only half grown anyway. It'll be faster to go ahead and get rid of these and place down a couple more of these farming stations. One here and one here eventually. That will use up, well, it'll use up the same amount of water, but we should get a lot more food for the amount of water that we're using up, which will be great. So much more food production, which means we actually should start being able to get rid of these meal woods and use less water for that. Water is absolutely a main concern, because look how much lower this is getting. We don't have a lot longer. So if we don't find a way to deal with this soon, everything kind of comes to a grinding halt. And obviously I'm not very keen on that idea. So I think I can take a small power transformer like this And if we run this up to a battery and then down through this away, that should be fine. We'll go ahead and rotate one of these up here. Run some heavy watt wiring like this. And there we go. That should allow us to kind of create a separate transformer circuit for all of this stuff. And if I want to disconnect it from the rest of the power grid, I'll go ahead and do this. Like so. And that actually should allow me to reclaim a fair bit of copper as well, which I'm a big fan of. So as I'm building all this out, my thought here is we probably can just migrate this entire system into this area, which is better insulated from the base. And right over here, yeah, I have my water sieve, but I might be able to dual purpose this as a sort of radiator room. We'll have the gas kind of run through here in a snake-like pattern before getting ducted into the rest of the base with some Wheezewort. And we could effectively do the same thing with liquids here if I so desire. Now, one upside to the water sieve is no matter what temperature of polluted water is put into it, it always outputs 40 degrees Celsius water. Unless they've recently changed that, but I believe it still works that way. So, we know what the starting temperature is. I should only have to run it through so many times before dumping it into the water tank before it should be a pretty comfortable temperature. And the insulation should protect us from most of any damage that we could create over here. Mostly, though, I need to make sure that I have enough room to place some batteries in a small transformer room before moving on with this heavy watt wiring and continuing throughout the rest of the base. Okay, and the good news is we now should have some power coming through here. Or at least I would have thought. What's going on here? Polluted water. We're just missing some sand. Once this gets delivered. And there we go. Okay, now we should be pumping out some of the coveted water just in time, just as we started to run out with our liquid pump right here. Which is really good, because had we run out of water entirely, all this would have shut down, no one could have gone to the bathroom, and we would have started having people pee all over the darn place. Of course, we could just put up a couple outhouses as an emergency solution, and that would have been fine, but the other thing is this is kind of killing my irrigation for all of my plants, because we don't have much water to work with. But there we go. Looks like it is starting to come through now, so yay. All right, polluted water is being put to use. Crisis averted, but barely. Oh, this is interesting. Here's another ice biome. Right down over here. That's not too far off from where we are right now. We could probably get to this. I do need to watch that immune system. I see that going down. It means somebody's been infected. So is it better to go down, or is it better to go around the geyser, which might be a bit more hazardous to my health? I'm thinking maybe we go down. It's a long ways away, but we can also check out this room right here. Yeah, that seems pretty nice. So we managed to get a liquid pump operating down here, which means we have a whole new source of polluted water to get dumped up into this tank, then sent down into the water sieve, and then we can put it... Whoa, what's scalding down here? It's warm, but it shouldn't be quite that warm. Lordy. Okay, this water sieve... Yeah, everyone's getting uncomfortable. This water sieve is a little bit too hot. Told you guys that was going to be a problem. Anyway, yeah, the idea here then is to get the water through the water sieve and then up in here. So a lot more polluted water that we can work with. Also, this thing's about ready to be turned on. And you can see kind of what my idea is for the radiator tubes. If you've ever seen a pattern like this, basically when it comes to the laws of thermodynamics, assume that everything wants to get to some sort of an equilibrium. The idea here, then, is if we can get this room incredibly cold using the Wheezewort, right, the ambient air temperature will be very low, and the temperature of the gas in these pipes will be rather high. So what's going to happen is the thermal energy from the high-temperature gas is going to transfer into the radiant gas pipes, which are made out of gold amalgam. There's going to be thermal conductivity, which then gets it to the outside surface of the radiant gas pipes and then exposes it to the ambient air, and the thermal energy will escape into the ambient air, which is being sucked up by the Wheezewort. So the goal here is to get as much air surface area as possible to be exposed to that ambient air and give us many opportunities to, kind of let that thermal conductivity happen. That's the goal anyway. Let's go ahead and lock this thing up. Actually, no, wait, can't lock it up yet. We got to turn all this stuff on in just a second. Is everything else down here more or less okay? I think so. So let's see. We need to go ahead and start digging out this direction. And then probably deconstruct here. We'll put down some ladders through this away. Cancel that. And then dig into the ice biome. Something like this. It's gonna be a long trek. But if it helps us cool down this liquid, that's great, because right now this is gonna be this water is gonna act almost like a giant heat source in the base. Water does tend to absorb a lot more energy than air does, simply because of you know, one, element properties, and two, density. You know, air, yeah, it fills up a huge volume, but it's incredibly low density. I mean, what, 1,400 grams in this, what is this, a cubic meter or whatever? As opposed to 232 kilograms. I mean, that can kind of give you an idea what I'm talking about. So there's a lot more thermal potential in water and liquid, and as a result, it's going to retain this heat pretty well, which is going to warm up the entire base, which is a problem because the energy is starting to work its way up toward my bristle blossoms, and at some point, they are no longer going to operate. That would be bad. What the heck has happened to this poor thing? It's just a quivering mass of grossness. I think it got stuck in a wall. Oh, you poor, poor Dreco. I'm gonna leave it there. Let that be a lesson to the rest of you. Don't wander in a construction site. Sans, do me a favor. I want you to try activating this thing, if you don't mind. Can you move up here, please? Nope, Carl's gonna get the honor. All right, Carl. Whoa. It appears to be another one of those weird brain things. So, this can only be good, if I understand correctly. It can give us some sort of a positive trait. Let's go ahead and say Sans, since he's a really good miner slash builder, I think. Hop on in. Okay, don't look so discomforted, sir. Oh, yeah. You're having a great time there, aren't you, Sans? You look like you're having fun. Does it feel good? Yeah? I'm going to go ahead and just complete the neural process so you can get out of that thing, or would you like to just fry for a little bit? Alright, let's complete the neural process. Whoosh! Woo! Sans' brain is still vibrating, but they've never felt better. We've gained the regenerative trait. Ooh. Constantly regenerating health. 20 per cycle. Kind of nice, I guess. This thing is now done. We can inspect it and learn some codex entries? Codex entries? Like things in here? Undiscovered. More research or exploration may be required. Whoa. That's interesting. I didn't realize there was technology to gain. That's kind of cool. Well, bad news. Looks like the bristle blossoms are indeed stopping to grow because it is too hot in here. Which is the consequence of having too hot of water being put through an electrolyzer and making things too warm, so that's not good. Come on, guys. Your stupid downtime's gonna get us all killed. I know you need downtime once in a while, but for real, though, this is an existential threat. If we cannot cool this base off, we are all going to die. Do you understand this? I don't think you do. Ooh, what's this down here? Oil. Oh, what do you know? There's a lot of it down here. Wow, okay. So we've struck black gold, everybody. We're rich. Also, diamonds? Huh. That's a surprising amount of diamond. I don't even know what you do with diamond. Industrial usage, I guess. Well, that's interesting. So, if we can get down here and get some, fossil fuel research and plastic manufacturing, we actually would be able to start converting petroleum into raw plastic. That's a thing we can do. Interestingly enough, Lucario apparently is not feeling very happy right now. Needs a morale rating of 12. I'm not sure why she's so upset, but, you know, we're gonna go ahead and have to bump you back down to a farmhand. Because I can't let that stress keep going up. Is it because the base is getting too warm? I can completely see that being the case. We can actually go ahead and deconstruct this thing, I think. Let's stop producing any heat up here. Oh, good. There's a whole bunch of Wheezewort in here. Okay. So if we can finish this up, we're freaking home free, or home-ish free. What we should do in preparation, let's go to furniture and get some flower pots set up. I'm thinking 1, 2... We don't need these ladders. Let's get rid of that. A couple of Wheezeworts. 4 might be enough. I'm not too sure yet. We may end up needing more, but let's see what we can do with 4 for the time being. It might be good enough. And then we'll keep an eye on the temperature of this room. Man, there really is a lot of diamonds and oil down here. The compressive force in this area must be massive. And what's this? A whole bunch of AND gates. Natural gas, and signal switches. Weird, man. Weird. What does this tell us exactly? You know, about what this asteroid used to be. Before, I don't know, did it break off of a piece of the planet or something? Were there people living here? Was this actually a piece of the planet? And we're seeing some remnants like thousands of years later of some sort of civilization? I don't know. It's as good of a guess as any, I suppose. Any duplicants here that I really want? Not especially. That's pretty creative, but beyond that, eh. An operator who's really good at tinkering? Yes, that can certainly be useful. The bottomless stomach, though, is kind of a non-negotiable one. I would not mind getting either another farmer or another digger. A really good digger that can dig through abyssalite. That would be very valuable. I'm going to plant a couple of extra wheezewort up here just to try and speed up the temperature decrease in the farming zone, but we do have 4 operating here now in a pretty well-insulated room. So over time, we should see the temperature drop. I say should. I mean, it'll probably even out a little bit. Remember that a lot of the thermal energy has to escape from these pipes. Actually, it occurs to me these liquid pipes, I should have replaced them with radiant pipes, because that would have increased the thermal exchange rate. Can I replace them? No. I would have to deconstruct all of this. It would be worth doing that at some point. Let's try letting the room cool off a little bit first. Right now it's kind of hot enough that it's not very comfortable for the dupes. Why are you going in there? Oh, wait. Oh, you totally can replace them. Oh, this is good. But it does take refined copper. Ah. It all makes sense now. Okay. That's all the refined copper I've got. So until we start mashing up some more, we're just going to get a little bit of extra thermal exchange, but that's kind of it. That's fine, though. I can live with that. You can see that the wheezewort are actually doing their job. The temperature in this room is decreasing enough that some of the bristle blossoms can grow again, which is excellent. So we're starting to make some good progress there. Any other major heat sources to worry about? A lot of heat down here, but we should be fine in terms of our insulation. Lots of heat generating in the power plant. That's to be expected. But again, a pretty good amount protected by our insulation. I have a couple of emergency hydro fans just to kind of try and decrease the temperature down here for now, but I don't anticipate that we're going to be able to use that for very long, or that will do very much. Compost is a little bit warm, but honestly, aside from that, we shouldn't have any substantial heat sources active here anymore. Really, it's all about the water temperature. But again, this is the main reason that we do have the wheezewort here in the first place. So yeah, you can kind of see the temperature of the liquid pipe going in here, about 32.7 degrees Celsius coming out of... Interesting that the polluted water actually is gaining temperature as it travels down here. But once it goes through the water sieve, that's when it tends to jump in temperature. 37.1 degrees Celsius. But by the time it's done here, 36.3. And the air temperature, let's see. In the gas pipe, I'm seeing 38.7 and dropping. Over here, it starts at 46. So we're actually dropping almost a whole 10 degrees as we're traveling through the radiant pipes. Oh, that's very good. So the wheezewort are absolutely starting to make a difference. Okay, I like that. Huh. I just got to notice about something overheating down here. A duplicant checkpoint is overheating. It is very hot, admittedly, yeah. Does the neural vacillator also have this problem? Tiny battery. It is really hot down here. We must be getting really close to the lava zone. Oh, who's this? A slickster. Oh, you're cute! I think these guys actually can create crude oil. So it is something that is potentially valuable for ranching. Not sure we are going to worry about it. I don't know if I'm ever going to get into oil, though we probably should. But it is an option available to us. So if this is about all the wheezewort I can get out of one very tiny ice biome, then I think my only other option if we want to try to control the temperature before it gets too bad is going to be to try to get to this other ice biome way over here and hope that it's a lot bigger. And that means we're gonna have to dig. I think I may be making a mistake by insulating this room with the gas pumps and electrolyzers. It's just gonna get hotter and hotter. The important thing is to insulate it from the rest of the base, but not necessarily out over here. So we probably should actually replace the tiles with something that can actually, you know, conduct some thermal energy. Heck, under other circumstances, it might not even be a bad idea to have a metal tile. Or something else that even better, you know, kind of increases the thermal conductivity. But for now, as long as I don't use Abyssalite, I think just about anything else is going to be okay. Let's just try to encourage this thing to kind of lose some of its heat. Just because I don't want anything to overheat here. That would be bad. Gosh dang it, you idiots. Why would you just... Ah! They don't think ahead at all. Well, this is interesting. What's a vending machine doing here? A pristine nutrient bar dispenser. I mean, great. It's got something. It's made of neutronium? Who made a vending machine out of neutronium? I'm very confused. Okay, yeah, this ice biome is way bigger. Good amount of Wheezewort in here as well. Should be able to get at least like 6 or 7 more, and I think there's even more down here that I haven't seen yet, so that's good. Suppose one of the added advantages of exploring the ice biomes is we can find some sleet wheat grain and make frost buns. Frost crust buns. What is that worth exactly? There you are. Morale +4. Yeah, it's a bit better. If sleet wheat was at all easier to grow and maintain, I would consider farming this stuff, but it requires at least 5 degrees Celsius. I'm sorry, at most 5 degrees Celsius. Since I can't seem to get anything below 30, I'm going to go with that's not really possible for me right now. Alright, I've harvested a fair bit of Wheezewort and kind of planted it strategically throughout the base, mainly where I expect most of the heat will come in from other biomes, like these airlocks and so on. So kind of try to catch some of that heat before it gets far into the base. These guys are kind of doing their job. Same sort of thing down here where the water seems to be a bit on the warm side. And by the compost, I'm going to plant another one probably right up here for the same sorts of reasons. Now down over here, I planted a bit more Wheezewort, and I've left the water sieve off for a little while. Let's go ahead and re-enable it now. Well, if you look here, you can see that it's gotten much, much colder in the room because this thing has been off. Makes that pretty easy. I'm hoping, then, that as the water flows through, we're going to find that the pipes are so cold that it quickly cools down the water. And what we may have to do is just kind of intermittently turn this thing on or off in order to let the pipes cool down and kind of help quickly cool down that water before it gets delivered. At least that's going to be the idea. So what's going to be the temperature going in? Still pretty warm at about 37.6 degrees or higher. It's not really cooling it down as much as I would have hoped. That's disappointing. Water, it turns out, is a little difficult to cool. We may have no choice but to get even more radiant pipes built in here, and that means I need more refined metal. For the gases, at least, we can see that it's entering somewhere around the order of 40 degrees, and it's leaving somewhere on the order of 30, yeah, about 30 degrees Celsius, which is a pretty comfortable temperature. 25 is probably what we'd want it to be. But this is definitely helping, and that's going to get distributed throughout the base. So slowly but surely, we are solving some of our temperature issues. And the more I can kind of catch the heat at the source, I think the better it's going to get. The more I can cool off this water, definitely the better it's going to get. But man, these water sieves, man, even with 7 Wheezewort nearby, trying to cool off an insulated room, it is, woohoo. It's a little difficult to cool it down when it starts at 40 degrees, no matter what temperature you put into it. And this gas stuff would be even better if it weren't for the fact that these, electrolyzers and pumps keep getting warmer and warmer as time goes on. So I'm kind of mitigating my own gains because I'm starting with a higher internal temperature of air because I can't cool these down effectively. So we may have to figure something else out as far as cooling off this room. And ideally, we'd like to kind of ditch the water sieve entirely and just have an entire radiator room so that we can actually cool this stuff down. Because starting at 40 degrees, we're not giving it a lot of surface area to actually have a chance to cool off. But again, more radiator tubes might help with that, but we'll figure that out next time. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If so, then be sure to hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe, hit that notify bell, and I will see you guys next time.